So I get comments all the time saying, Mike, I study 10 hours a day, but I'm still failing my exams. I'm working 12 hours a day on my business, but it's just not going anywhere because the number of hours you're working are completely irrelevant. It's what you do in those hours that matter. So I tell people all the time, you don't need to be studying 10 hours a day. Oftentimes you can cut your studying in half to say 4 or 5 hours a day and get even better grades because you're studying smarter and more efficiently.
So in this video, I'm going to go through, in my opinion, the best framework on how you can double your output while working the same number of hours. The 90-91 rule. So this method was created by Robin Sharma a few years ago, and it goes something like this. For the next 90 days, spend the first 90 minutes of your day on the single biggest task that will move you closer to your main goal. So whatever your main goal is, if it's to finish writing a book, then you'll spend the first 90 minutes every work day. So as soon as you wake up, essentially in isolation writing. If your goal is to achieve a 4.0 GPA in your final exams coming in 3 months, then for 90 minutes, first thing in the morning, you shut yourself off from the world and study for those exams. I've been implementing this rule into my own life over the last couple of years, especially over the COVID-19 lockdown. We were in lockdown for 4 months, and at least for me, it was really quite difficult to stay focused on one task. I think simply because I just wasn't used to being locked up within the same 4 walls for such an extended period of time. And I found that the 90-91 rule helps significantly with my overall productivity. I modified it slightly, so instead of working for 90 minutes, I worked for 120 minutes, so 2 hours, and that just worked really well for me. Often I could actually get more done in the first 2 hours of the day than the rest of the 8 or 10 hour workday. That's how powerful it was in terms of kind of boosting my overall productivity. And this works so well because we all have a limited amount of energy in a single day, right? As you go through your day commuting to work, talking to colleagues, working, your energy bar is kind of slowly depleting. And if you're mindless with how you spend this energy, you'll end the day with nothing left to show for it. So in the morning, when your energy bar is at its most full, this is when you have the most focus, the most energy, the most willpower, so you want to take full advantage of that. One of the best ways you can spend your time in this 90-minute window is studying on a learning platform called Brilliant, the sponsor of this video. So Brilliant is a learning platform that basically replaces boring lecture videos and completely replaces them with hands-on interactive problem solving. And you guys know how much I value learning in an engaging manner where you're actually having to actively think about what you're learning, therefore encouraging you to process the information you're learning. And that's why, in my opinion, studying with Brilliant is one of the most effective ways to learn STEM subjects. I found that even concepts that at first are seemingly quite complex and honestly kind of intimidating, Brilliant have a kind of a way of explaining these concepts in a very uncomplicated and simple way with interactive visuals. So for example, the Algebra Fundamentals course takes you through the very basic concepts with lots of diagrams and explanations. It's such a refreshing way to study when you're used to reading thick, heavy textbooks with super small text and no diagrams. And then be taught from a platform that really focuses on presenting the information in bite-sized, digestible chunks. So Brilliant have a wide range of courses covering maths, science, and computer science. So if you're studying any of those subjects, I do recommend you check them out. You can join the millions of people already learning on Brilliant. Get started for free at brilliant.org/Project Elon. The link is in the description, and if you click that link, the first 200 viewers will receive 20% discount off their annual subscription membership. All right, so the second part to this productivity framework is called learned minimalism. So I don't actually want to be working 12 hours a day. I don't even want to be working 10 hours a day because I only have 24 hours in the day. So if I'm spending 12 hours working, 8 hours sleeping, let's say 3 hours showering, getting ready, eating, commuting, that kind of thing, then I only have 1 hour left for spending time with family, for going out with friends, for going to the gym, basically working on other areas of my life. And that's why learned minimalism is so important, because for 99% of you, you don't have to work 10 or 12 hours a day to achieve your goals, because where you invest your energy is more important than how much you invest. So let's say on the 1st of January 2012, you invested $10,000 in Facebook stock. by 2022, that $10,000 would have turned into $69,000. If you had invested that same $10,000 in Amazon stock, 10 years later, you'd have $177,000. And this is an example of where you invest your money is more important than how much you invest. And the same principle works with how we invest our time. So let's take the example we used earlier of a student that is studying for their finals in 3 months' time. I think what a lot of people do is they study or work aimlessly without purpose or direction, right? They're not thinking, what's the one thing I can do right now that will move the needle of my exam grade the biggest distance? Instead, they're just reading the textbook or watching a YouTube video or kind of studying mindlessly rather than studying strategically. And you can take this concept of learned minimalism even deeper, meaning you're not only very deliberate with your everyday tasks, but you're also incredibly strategic with the direction you're taking your life in general. So instead of having 20 goals that you want to achieve, maybe instead just pick one, but funnel all your energy and resources to becoming world-class at that one thing. Or instead of reading 20 books, why not really dive deeply and study intensely one phenomenal autobiography? So Robin Sharma explained the concept of learned minimalism perfectly.
Now, I've worked with a lot of the most creative and productive people on the planet. I've worked with billionaires and CEOs. I've worked with true titans. Here's one thing I've observed in them. They understand that the secret to genius is not complexity, it's simplicity. If you look at a Picasso of any industry, if you look at a great artist, they didn't fill their work days and their personal lives with a lot of things. They filled them with a few things. I guess what I'm suggesting to you is one of the secrets to iconic productivity is be monomaniacally focused at being world-class at just a few things.
The third part of the framework is about becoming unavailable, and it's pretty self-explanatory. It's where you make it very hard for other people to contact you during times where you're in a state of complete focus. So a few months ago, I turned off about 90% of all notifications on my phone. I still keep them on for Slack because I use that primarily for work, and there are a few other contacts that I keep notifications on just in case of emergencies, but 90% of notifications are completely turned off. And so for the main bulk of my social media, I actually just check DMs first thing in the morning and reply to everyone that has messaged me, and I'll check again in the evening after I finish work, and that's about it. Because at the end of the day, we spend 2.1 hours a day in a state of distraction, and it takes 21 minutes to refocus after you've been distracted. So of course, if you get rid of those distractions by turning off notifications, or at the very least hiding your phone behind your laptop while you're working, that's going to go a huge way into improving your productivity. So the three parts of the productivity framework are the 90-91 rule. As soon as you wake up, you spend the first 90 minutes of your day working on the one single task that will move your needle the most towards success. Learn minimalism, meaning you're being extremely strategic and deliberate with your time, and becoming unavailable, because distractions are our biggest enemies when it comes to focusing on one specific task. And if you want to learn more about how to increase your productivity by working more efficiently as opposed to working harder, I made a video recently on how I trained myself to study smart. It's my most viewed video in the last few weeks. You can click on the card on the screen to watch that. Alternatively, I made another video on how I reprogrammed my mindset to significantly improve my productivity with 3 powerful hacks. And once again, do check out Brilliant, the sponsor of this video, if you want to start learning and studying STEM subjects in a far more fun and interactive way. The link is in the description below.